with allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, that leads us to citizen comments. Kate, do we have any?
No, we do not.
But we do have a special guest that we're going to have come on now. Carrie with the American Heart Association is here to share some good news.
Yes, thank you for having me. You guys ready for school yet?
Ready.
Yeah.
Close.
Yeah, you're getting there. You got a few more days. So I'm Carrie Bacher. I work for the American Heart Association, and I have the pleasure of just coming and sharing some great news about the Brentwood community and the two schools that partner with us. But I'm trying to, change this up because I start to feel like a broken record year after year when I come to school board meetings. So I'm going to start with what I do when I do a kickoff assembly at schools with K to 5th or 6th graders. So we're going to start with a little experiment, and I want you guys to all start doing this with your hands. Okay? A little bit faster. Your heart beats about this fast, 100 to 120 beats per minute. Keep on going, don't stop. Yeah. And then we do how many minutes in a day?
A lot.
Yeah, there you don't want to do math, it's late at night, right? So 60 minutes in an hour, right? And then, we have 24 hours in a day, and then we have 7 days in a week, and 30 days in a month, and then 12 months in a year, and kids start stopping by now, and I say, no. And, my heart's been doing this for 53 years now. You can stop. The point is, your hand's getting tired, right? And so I say to kids, okay, the reason why you take care of your heart is because, one of the things you could do is if your heart wears out, you can go to Target and buy a new heart. And they all laugh at me and say, no. And I said, oh, no, I've got it. You can go on Amazon and order one and have it delivered to your house. And they chuckle. And so the point is just the importance of taking care of your heart and why you should stay healthy. And then also talking about how we help people with sick hearts. So that's just one of the introductions I do with kids. So I just like to share it with you guys. Okay. So up here on the slide deck, I just want to highlight two stats that are up there. The American Heart Association has been around for over 100 years now. And two of the stats that I'm extremely proud of, if you look at the third one with the heart, since our founding in 1924, deaths from cardiovascular disease have decreased or been cut in half, which is a pretty amazing statistic there. And then the other piece, and this is because of school districts and communities and business partners, we've been able to fund $6.1 billion with a B dollars in research since 1949. So some key things that you would be familiar with, statins, pacemaker, different types of surgery, that's all because of the research the American Heart Association has founded. The other thing that I don't think people realize that we do a lot of is our advocacy work. So as you all are aware, last year Missouri State Legislature passed a law that all school districts had to have a cardiac emergency response plan. That was because of our advocacy efforts. We partnered with Project Adam and MEMSA, and so we're continuing to work with school districts across the state of Missouri to make sure that their CERT plans are in place. And if you guys have a need, hopefully you guys are in good shape. But if you have a need, I do know that Missouri is supposed to be funding or giving some additional funding out this year as well for AED machines training, things like that. But that's something that we were integral in just here in Missouri. Okay, so if you take a look at this slide, you look at those three stats about kids. 1 in 5 children suffer less than 1 in 5 kiddos that suffer cardiac arrest survive. Only 20% of children get enough physical activity to meet their daily recommendations. And depression and anxiety has almost doubled in the past decade, which is really sad. But we know that physical activity is one of the reasons, that will help that depression and anxiety. So that's why we're in schools and talking to folks about getting kids moving and what have you. Last year, every year we have a theme and a set of characters. So our characters have not been revealed this year, but they each have a special message that talks to kids about different issues that they might be combating. So let's talk about sleep, right? So the little character would talk about making sure that they get, 8 to 10 hours of sleep every night. Vaping, that Aspen would talk about kids staying away from vaping. And then Rescue talks about CPR. So these are all systemic issues. The thing about our program is we're addressing those systemic issues, but we're also supporting the national PE and health standards. So we tie into those education standards as well. You all have PE quite a bit in this district. Some school districts are not as lucky that their kids do not get into the PE world as well. So this is a good way to combine the health components with PE. Okay, so one of the things I am most proud of that and this is going on my 8th year working for the AHA, we have really been focusing on hands-only CPR. I'm just gonna leave it to this video, but you would not think that a kindergartner would be able to help save someone's life. Since we've really started pushing this, we've had an example of a kindergartner and his mom from watching our simple 2-minute video that we're able to save a man's life at their church. And this is one that just happened last year. So I just want you to see this video real quick. It's not long.
Finally, America strong. The girl who gave her dad the greatest gift of all. 4th grader Magnolia Bridegroom was home on a snowy day in January with her parents and twin sister Lydia. An ordinary morning until it wasn't.
I woke up to my mom yelling my name.
Father had collapsed after shoveling snow.
I saw my dad laying on the ground on our front porch and my mom doing CPR with the 911 dispatcher on her phone.
For 7 minutes, Magnolia's mother performed chest compressions, but then she needed help.
The 911 operator asked if anybody else could help, and Magnolia said, I can. She stepped in, she started compressions.
A 4th grader helping to keep her father alive until paramedics could arrive and rush him to the hospital. Today he's back home and doing well, and Magnolia knows exactly where she learned what to do. At Oxbow Elementary School, her PE teacher, Miss Kriz, has taught CPR every year since kindergarten.
We have about a half dozen CPR dummies that kindergartners through 4th graders get to practice on once a year. She put that practice into a phenomenal use.
This week, Magnolia received the American Heart Association's Heart Saver Hero Award. Proof that sometimes the lessons children carry home from school are bigger than grades or tests. Sometimes they're life-saving. Critical lesson there. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Until then, I'm Lindsay Davis. Have a great night.
I think that's working. Okay. So I was sharing this with another superintendent, and the superintendent said, it's important for us to teach kids to be prepared, not scared, right? And I have a personal experience. I'll cry if I share it, but we came across a horrific accident, and my husband was the epitome of a bystander. He freaked out and didn't know what to do, and my high school kiddo jumped into action and did the hands-only CPR. So I feel really strongly about this, and I know that we're teaching a generation of kids to definitely do great things for their communities. But the main reason I'm here, okay, what did I do? Oh, there we go, skip. There we go. Perfect. There we go. The main reason I'm here tonight, let's see here, I'm going to put it on presentations. I could do that without the readers. Okay. The main reason I'm here tonight is to celebrate Brentwood School District, and specifically Mark Twain and McGrath Elementary Schools. Coach Lynn and Coach Wilder, we have been amazing supporters of the American Heart Association. And this past year, your school communities collectively raised over $25,000 for the American Heart Association, which is the best year ever for both of those schools since they have partnered with us. And if you look at that lifetime number up there, $127,000. So over the lifetime, that would be about 5 research studies that your schools have funded for the American Heart Association. And then in return, we invested over $2,000 in U.S. Games, so the schools could buy PE equipment where they could get a check and buy something off of another Amazon or another catalog to use in their schools. So, without further ado, I would like Coach Lim to come on up. Ryan is pretty amazing, as I'm sure you all know, and I have the privilege of going into PE classrooms all over St. Louis. And he does, I'm getting a little teary-eyed for you. He does an amazing job. He's always doing I just watch what he does, and the kids know what they're doing, and his classroom management's amazing, the kids are engaged.
That's just when you come in.
But they're absolutely amazing. And so someone's balancing making PE fun, and then they're taking on a fundraiser for a charity, and he does an amazing job. And since he's been in Brentwood at McGrath, he has just doubled, almost tripled what the school started making when he first came. And over that time, he started with something simple. He wanted all the kids to be engaged with just jumping rope and setting a goal for the students, and just to get better at jumping and just having fun in his classroom. And he celebrates that at the end of his Kids Heart Challenge, and he lets the kids slide. So I'm thinking, well, I know next year we're going to involve a principal. Maybe we can get a superintendent to do it. But I always say, Brian, how many cups of slime do I need? And he tells me, and then we always run out. So if you saw the pictures at the beginning, we're scooping from the pool, trying to refill the cups. But Brian does an amazing job, and this year, each one of us gets to nominate a school that we work with. So I work with about 100 schools. And so I nominated Ryan for School of the Year. So I'd like to He's also an amazing tour travel agent. If you ever go to England, so yeah, I was like, okay, where are you going? So he's pretty amazing, and I just, you know what? It's great to have a partner that also is a friend, and he is just so easy to become friends with. So. He's an amazing PE teacher, friend, and I know he's an amazing coach. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
And I'm going to finish with this. On behalf of these Heart Heroes up here, thank you so much for your support. I know that their families are so grateful for the communities that support the American Heart Association to make their lives, healthier, and that they can have longer lives. So. I'm from the bottom of my heart. I know that sounds cliche. Thank you. So, thanks for having me.
Thank
How much I love him. Have a great first week.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Thank you.
All right, that leads us to Spotlight on Brentwood.
So more good news.
Yeah,
This is a great way to start.
Let's just keep it
This is
rolling.
wonderful. Thank you guys so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you. Congratulations, Ryan.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Good evening to everyone tonight. Thank you for giving me just a few minutes to talk about some of the good things that have happened in Brentwood since the last time we saw each other back in May, right after graduation. So even during the summertime, we still are generating good, positive news from our students, from our staff, from our schools at the district level. So just a reminder, we try to split these up into our 4 strategic plan categories. So student success, school culture, diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility, and unified community engagement. Some of them bleed across multiple things and touch different strategic plan buckets, so we kind of just do our best sometimes to put them where we think they fit best. So without further ado, let's start at the end of May with student success. And these 2 students, at the end of May, Brentwood High School rising seniors Scout Langhorst, he's on the left, and Vincent Ceramis signed registered youth apprenticeship agreements with local advanced manufacturing organizations. Now, Scout and Vinny are the first Brentwood students to earn apprenticeships through the Careerways Youth Apprenticeship Accelerator, a partnership between the U.S. Department of Labor local school districts, and industry leaders designed to connect students with high-demand, high-wage career opportunities while they are still in high school. So through the program, students gain paid hands-on experience while working alongside industry professionals. Over the course of the apprenticeship, participants complete 2,000 hours of supervised training and work-based learning, developing skills that can lead directly to employment, additional training, or continued education. So these are the first two, hopefully, of many here in Brentwood, and we're just proud of Scout and Vinny for helping pave the way for our future Brentwood students.
It was very cool. Like they got the signing. Every industry, every employer gave swag. They all had hats. It was very cool.
That's
Very cool.
Love it.
All right, so our next story in student success. So this is our Brentwood Stream Camp, elementary school summer camp. So more than 200 students entering grades 1 through 6 joined us in June for summer stream camp, featuring this year's theme, Stranded Earth Survival Expedition. So campers explored biomes from around the world through hands-on science, technology, reading, engineering, art, and math activities. Students tackled creative design challenges and collaborative problem-solving activities throughout the camp, and this experience helped students build confidence, curiosity, and critical thinking skills while making learning fun. So, if you know anything about our elementary school summer camp, it's super popular. It's always totally packed. We try to do our best to fit every single kid that we can in. It seems like it just keeps growing and growing every year. And the last 2 years, Dr. Kathy Molina has done a tremendous job with it, and it just continues to get better and better. I think the only thing that we wish, or not we, but our families wish, is that it was longer. So,
We are hoping next year
Yep,
that we will
we're-
add an afternoon session with guided school so we can make it all day.
Oh, that would be
So for
good.
families who may need all day care. So, well,
Mm.
to be determined, but that is on our list of things to go well with guided school this year.
And we will talk a little bit more about summer camp in a little bit. But for now, let's go over to Brentwood Youth Sports Summer Camp. So Brentwood Athletics and Activities offered a variety of Junior Eagles youth sports camps throughout the summer for students to learn, grow, and have fun. Camps included volleyball, basketball, baseball, track, wrestling, cheer, tennis, and soccer. More than 250 campers in grades 3 through 8 participated and learned fundamental skills and teamwork while learning from Brentwood High School coaches and student athletes who served as the camp counselors and mentors. So this was a great shot of a youth volleyball player. The activities were designed based on skill level and by age. So if you see in the back, we got older kids playing a volleyball scrimmage while our younger folks are, working on hitting a beach ball to get the moves and the forms and the fundamentals correct. So just a really great activity during the summertime. Over 250 kids. A lot of those were multiple kids in the same camp, repeat kids week after week, because they just had a great time. Students enjoyed time with friends, connected with their future Eagle teammates, and received a Junior Eagles t-shirt to celebrate their camp experience. So,
You'll see a lot of them at the camps. We've already got days lined up on the schedule for them to attend the varsity level of the sport that they will be invited to go wear their Junior Eagles shirts and show up and cheer on.
My son participated in that, and I think it's fantastic when you get the older kids, the juniors and seniors, to be able to help the younger kids out in these camps. I mean, it's great to work with the coaches, but it's fantastic to be able to work with the older kids too. They just look up and admire them. So, great job, great job.
and I think it's only going to grow from here. Andrew Gordon, hit the ground running when he started. Even before his July 1st start date, he was already in the mix, making sure camps were running smoothly, and it's more organized, it's more streamlined, t-shirts, lots of participants, So I think we're just gonna keep building on that.
Yeah.
Just starting out.
It's
Very
Yeah.
excited.
fantastic.
All right, and then our last one in student success, Brentwood High School Freshman Orientation. So Brentwood High School hosted its first freshman orientation in a very long time, but the first.
In anyone's memory.
Yeah.
I have been here for a while,
yeah.
and this is the first time
First one.
I've had
But
it.
that's-
Just dipping our toe in as well, and I was very excited.
But definitely the first under new principal, Dr. Greg Fick, giving incoming ninth graders a dedicated introduction to high school before the start of the school year. Students learned about high school expectations, academic programs, and opportunities for involvement, including athletics, clubs, and real-world learning experiences. There were upperclassmen on hand to welcome the new Eagles, and a senior panel and other activities where students sharing advice and helping students become more comfortable with their new school, because even though, you know, these our incoming freshmen are familiar with the campus and familiar with some of the spaces, the commons, the cafeteria, the library, things like that, it's still different when you go from.
You could still feel the nerds as they were putting their advisory. It was kind of nice to know, like, even though they're under this roof,
Yeah.
like, it still meant something for them to be able to be there in a safe environment with other freshmen that they know, find their classes, know who their advisory is. So it was a good, and I guess it reinforced why it is necessary for us to have this kind of milestone experience.
But it was good to have everyone involved, you know, the high school administration, Dr. Fick, Wendy GL, Andrew Gordon, all the advisory teachers for the freshmen were there to meet them in their groups, the upperclassmen to help kind of lead the way and give them some guidance, because we all know as much as adults can give feedback and advice, hearing it from a peer sometimes does it a little bit better. So just a great example of getting our students prepared for what comes next. So on to school culture. So speaking of preparing people for what comes next, this is a shot of our new Brentwood School District employees. So last week we welcomed 11 new teachers and staff for new employee orientation. Department leaders provided training on a variety of topics, including benefits, finance, technology, facilities, communications, and other essential areas. The orientation helped ensure our newest employees had the background knowledge, the resources, and the connections needed to hit the ground running in their new home away from home. And this is every year an annual event, a joint venture from our Human Resources Department and our Teaching and Learning Department. And when I say department, I mean Dr. Andrew Miller and Dr. Ronnie Zagora. So
The whole department.
they do a great job organizing it, getting everything together, feeding them, getting them swag when they come in first to make them feel welcome. We kick it off with a breakfast. You guys were there or have been there in the past. So it's just a nice way to welcome a new group of Eagles to our flock, I guess you could say. All right, and it seems like ages ago, but just
The fact that that was just yesterday.
Yesterday, Brentwood teachers, support staff, and administrators came together for our annual back-to-school kickoff, celebrating the start of the 26-27 school year with connection, laughter, and inspiration. Dr. Zielinski introduced this year's theme, Educating Creative, Curious, and Caring Kids, drawing inspiration from Mr. Rogers and his approach to children and learning. So staff were encouraged to focus on the little things that make a big difference, creating space for wonder and creativity, learning from mistakes, listening to one another, and ensuring every student feels valued. So the kickoff provided an opportunity to reconnect as a team and refocus on our shared purpose before welcoming students back next Monday. So if you can believe it, it's less than a week away. Sorry for anyone watching.
The parents are like,
break the bad news.
Quick enough.
But school does start next Monday, so it'll be here before we know it. But just a great day. I mean, as crazy of a whirlwind it is, it's really fun. And everybody, we get together, we take an all-staff picture, people get new t-shirts, you guys have t-shirts. If you already got a t-shirt, I don't know who picked up t-shirts yesterday. If you picked up a t-shirt, you already have one, just leave it there, I'll pick it up afterwards. But yeah, just a great day. All right, and then let's move into unified community engagement, and I had to put this in there, of course.
I'll see you crazy if you're not comfortable. This is a big deal.
And this was in June. So the Brentwood School District's redesigned website earned an award of excellence from the National School Public Relations Association, the highest level of recognition in its annual award program. So entries were evaluated by experienced school communications professionals across the country based on quality, effectiveness, and impact. So we launched the redesigned website in January. It was developed to make it easier for families and community members to find information, stay connected, and explore opportunities available to Brentwood students. And we put it in unified community engagement because it truly was a unified community project. I mean, our communication board advisory, our community engagement board advisory committees, student life committees, feedback from all kinds of folks to make sure that if we were going to do it, we were going to do it right and make it something really sharp and user-friendly for people to really, an online presence that accurately reflects all the great things that our students and staff and schools do. So.
And I wanna also, Tony, to be remiss that yes, it was group feedback. But Tony built this website. And so when we talk about a department of one back there, most districts will have like a webmaster who does this. And Tony took this on entirely on top of all of his other regular duties. So huge shout out to you.
Yeah,
phenomenal.
And now I'll never speak of it again. We will just continue to.
We'll just keep using it.
And and that's the beauty of it. It's never a finished product because we're going to change things and we're going to implement new strategies and so it's always evolving, which is fun.
It's a beautiful website.
Mm-hmm.
It really is.
Yeah.
And on communications, is Brentwood Buzz new, or have we had that too?
Brentwood,
Instagram?
That was new last year.
Okay.
With Michael Nations in his journalism class. So I
Okay,
know
it looked like.
yeah, they've always done something similar to that, but he kind of came in and really pushed like the weekly, almost like a news broadcast style thing, and then pushing it on social media and things like that. So yeah. All right, so let's go back to Summer Stream Camp. And this is just a great example of community engagement, is why we wanted to put it in here. So, like we said, more than 200 students participated in the camp. But on the last day of camp, families joined students for the Exploration Expo, where campers showcased their project and shared what they had learned throughout the summer. So there's kind of a group, it's just jam-packed full of people and stuff. It's kind of hard to tell, but then I think this next photo does a pretty good job of just showing the scale of people that turned out to walk through the school at 10:30, 11:30 on a Thursday morning in June. So we want our families in our schools. We want them to see what we're doing during the school year, but it also extends to summer school. So this is a great example of getting families in the buildings, letting them see firsthand what their kids are making, what their kids are learning, and then celebrating their kids for the things that they've completed and accomplished. So, and then our last one, also like just a couple days ago. So these are a couple photos of chalking the walk. So on Sunday evening, our parent group leaders came together to chalk the walk, covering the entrance to the Brentwood Middle and High School Commons with colorful, positive messages for staff returning on Monday. So the idea is just to as staff are walking up there, they just are bombarded with positive messages and welcome backs and all the feel-good stuff as they walk up, and they're like, oh man, I guess it's, back to it. But as soon as you hit those brick pavers and you start walking up, you're like, all right, I feel good. And then you open the door, and the cheerleaders are there, and everybody walks in, and you get breakfast, and then you do our back to school kickoff, and it's just a nice welcome. But unfortunately, for the second year in a row, Mother Nature had other plans, with Sunday night's rain washing away most of the hard work before staff arrived on Monday morning. But even though the chalk may not have lasted, the thoughts and support behind it certainly did, and we always appreciate our parent groups for helping our staff feel valued and welcomed. It's just a great partnership. It's just a great example of unified community engagement. The things that they do, the extra support that they give us, we couldn't do it without them, so we appreciate our parent group leaders, and we look forward to working with them throughout the school year.
We all knew it might rain, and we were
Yeah,
so
we did,
dedicated to be out there, sweating, getting this done, and every year, so I started this my first year, and every year more and more parents have come. But what's really cool is kids are coming out, and so we're seeing more and more kids come. So I love that picture of the two little girls from Mark Twain, but there was several other that had gone inside. My little Betty was there with us coloring up too, so it was very cool. They were very excited to make the signs for their teachers, so very grateful.
And that's it for this month. Any questions or anything? Appreciate your time.
Thank you,
Love
Tony,
it.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
Got a lot of really good stuff going as we enter the new year.
Great way to start off the year. All right, Kate, could you do a roll call, please?
Mark Cicero,
Here.
Katie Clark,
Here.
Ryan Flynn,
Here.
Claire O'Brien,
Here.
Michelle Ross,
Here.
Katie Spall, Lindsay Spencer.
All right, that moves us to our consent agenda. Can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda as outlined?
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda as outlined below.
Second.
And discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes. Moves us to our superintendent's report.
Marvelous. All right, so we're going to jump right on in with an update from Mr. Lorenzo Boyd from Stiefel. You're up, man. You're up. And Ms. Trina Bechtel, our new CFO, so this gets to be her first presentation to the board. They're going to share with us, before Trina even started, I think Lorenzo, we went and had lunch maybe in May or breakfast in May. Lorenzo's been talking to us a lot about our bond and our debt service and what we can do. And so today he's going to kind of present to you where we are. This is linked, but Trina also made a copy of this for you. What we need to do with the money we have in our debt service to be fiscally responsible for our community members. So we've been talking about this for a while. We knew this was going to be happening kind of as Matt was transitioning out. Lorenzo assures us that we have plenty of time to get this taken care of before we set our new tax rate. So I'm going to turn it over to Lorenzo to kind of fill in with the board. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Again, my name is Lorenzo Boyd, Managing Director of Public Finance for Stiefel. I want to say that, Brentwood is one of my, when I started doing this business, like back in, I know I don't look this old, 1992. And Dr. Cleary, when he was here, was one of the first people to kind of trust in me to start working with Brentwood School District. So I think this is over 30 years that I've worked with you all, and I appreciate you guys working with me and allowing me to be your partner as your bond underwriter. So as I mentioned, when I kind of approached, we knew we were going to do this. The school district has 4 series of bonds that are outstanding. I won't go into all the detail, but right now we have a wonderful time to be able to refinance some of the existing bonds for savings. And so, as we mentioned, whenever I come to a board meeting, I'm only coming to a board meeting for 2 reasons. And can you guess what those 2 reasons are? Save you money and give you money. So I'm going to say, I don't want to take my money.
He always gets to give good news.
So whenever you see me, I expect a band.
We'll put you on the celebrations next week.
But no one ever gets teary-eyed when I come. So there's a wonderful opportunity. So the school district has 2 series of bonds, 2018 and 2019. There are roughly about 14 million of the bonds that are currently outstanding that can be called for savings. The bonds have a call date of 3/1/2026. So we can refinance those bonds right now for savings. Right now, as Dr. Zielinski mentioned, the school district has a great opportunity. They have to set their tax rate by October 1. And so there are some funds sitting in the debt service account that can be used to help pay down the bonds, to help the school district keep its tax rate at 89.9 cents. So in addition to refinancing those bonds for savings, we're going to actually get $2 million from the school district that'll go into paying down some of those bonds, those 14 million of bonds. So we're only going to have to refund probably right over 11.8 million of bonds. The rest will be used for savings. So with that, we're going to save the school district. I think you have the numbers in front of you. We're going to save the school district in terms of what we call cumulative savings, which is cash flow savings. Those are interest rates as of the current market, about $3.7 million over the next several years, with the final maturity being in 2038 now. So we're going to be able to eliminate one whole maturity of the bond, two whole maturities of the bonds, and actually shorten the bonds up from their original final maturity of 2039. So we're excited about that. And so with that, we're looking at 2% savings, present value savings. We're trying to get this transaction done as soon as possible. Because I'm sure you guys, whatever news you look at, whether it's CNN, MSNBC, Bloomberg News, Fox News, whatever you look at, all indications are that interest rates are going to keep rising. And so they're thinking about, so now there's already been embedded in terms of interest rates going up 25 basis points to 50 basis points. So our goal is to actually start this financing immediately after this board meeting, and then plan to be here in October when we price the transaction. That's when we set the final interest rates. I think the board meeting is October 20th. I was talking to Trina about this, the third Tuesday in October, so that will be October 20th. And that day I'll be back in front of you to actually set the final terms of the interest rates. But during that time, there'll be a lot of work that'll be done by the superintendent and by the new CFO, Trina, in terms of bond ratings. So we'll have to go through that process. The school district currently has a AA underlying bond rating. That's almost the best you can receive is a AAA. So you're only 2 notches below a perfect rating. So your underlying bond rating is equivalent to an individual credit score. So that's what investors use to, and that's how interest rates are set. So the higher your underlying rating, lower interest rates you're going to receive. So for instance, if you're a 700 credit score and you go to a bank to get a home mortgage, you may get a 6% interest rate. But if you're a 600 credit score, you go into it, you may get a 7% interest rate. So we want those to maintain that AA rating. And I had the pleasure of sending this information to Trina, probably, and Dr. Zielinski about 3 weeks ago, the preliminary rating questions. So we'll get that process started within the next several weeks, and plan to be back in front of you on October 20th. And then close shortly thereafter, November 3rd. The real important date is October 20th. That's the day we finalize interest rates. If interest rates rise too much, we have to move the pricing back, we'll do so. But the state of Missouri says you must save at least 1.5% on your savings, so we're well above that. And right now it's the current call, and not knowing what interest rates are going to be doing, we're hoping they'll stay steady, and we'll be able to price on October 20th. So with that, I'll open up to any questions. And this will allow the school district, when they set their tax rate, to keep their tax rate constant at 89.9 cents, which has been like that for a long time.
Yeah, for a long time, we really keep it at 89 cents, which is also why we need to spend the $2 million to pay it down, which is again, long-term good, good chunk of money to take off the top of the loans. So fiscally, it puts us in a really good position for other future conversations that we've been having with Lorenzo that will be shared with the Facility and Finance Committee as Trina gets settled in and we look at our projections moving forward. But this is good news for us as a district. Saving money is always a good thing. And so, any questions for Lorenzo? I want to thank Lorenzo publicly. He has been very kind and patient with me, helping me understand all of these things before Trina even got here. And with the transition and knowing the transition was happening has been really helpful. And meeting with Trina and meeting with both of us to make sure that we understood and did fill Matt in on all of this. Matt, knew about it and supported these decisions as well moving forward. So all three of us were on the same page. But patience with all of the transitions and timeline I appreciate from Lorenzo. So we're very grateful.
But I love, the questions because it kind of, gives me an opportunity to answer those questions in terms of, the process.
Is there a cap on interest that a school district can,
Is there a cap?
yeah, on the total dollar value? I thought okay,
No, there's a minimum that you have to save at least 1.5%
okay.
savings. And that's with the, if you enroll in the direct deposit program by the state of Missouri, but there's no cap on the amount of money that you can save. If that's what you're asking.
Well, like, so maybe it's just unrelated, but like on investments, is there, if the school district is investing money,
Oh, no, there's no cap.
there's no cap on any of it? Okay.
Yeah, and what you're referring to is whenever a school district does a bond issue, a new money bond issue, say for instance, that arbitrage yield, that's the term that the IRS used, the federal government used. If that interest, if your arbitrage yield is 4.5%, the school district is restricted in their project funds to earn no more than 4.5%. If you earn
That's the arbitrage that we had happen to us.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
That's what,
Okay.
that happened a couple months ago. My
Yeah.
head.
Okay, that's what I was
Philly has
referring
an
to.
Yeah,
arbitrage.
that's, and so you can earn more than that, and this is where my nerd brain comes into play. You can earn more than that if you spend the money, if you hit certain benchmarks within 2 years. So if you spend your money in 24 months, if you spend 10% by 6 months, 45% by 12 months, 75% by 18 months, and virtually all, even if you earn 7% because you spent it so fast, the federal government says, you know what, you made more than 250 basis points over your arbitrage yield, you can keep all the excess money because you spent it so fast.
Okay.
What factors would move us from a AA to a AAA? How can we improve our, improve double and triple?
That's a really good question. So I'll say part of the rating process is subjective and objective. So Brentwood, in terms of, the only thing that hinders you is the size of the school district. And
That's helpful to know.
yeah, the size of the school district, because, can you guess the only school districts that are AAA in the state of Missouri?
To do.
No, they were just downgraded.
Oh.
Clayton.
Rockwood.
Clayton,
Rockwood.
Rockwood, and Parkway. All three on the St. Louis side. But if you notice anything about all three of those school districts, Ladue being the outlier is just because of general wealth of the school district. But the other three have huge assessed valuation bases. If you think about lots of commercial, lots of residential, I mean, they're just in terms of, you're looking at Rockwood, they're like $6 billion in assessed valuation. Parkway the same way. Clayton has a huge commercial base, So those are the things that really, in terms of kind of set them apart. And then the other things that you can do is like your operating reserves. Most of those school districts have operating reserves, well over 40%. Your debt service is and I'm not just saying this because I manage your debt service, is great.
That's what we like to hear.
Yeah, I mean, Lorenzo is just so wonderful. But, your debt service is sitting in a good fashion, but your operating reserves is what you pay your teachers and your ongoing projects. So most of those school districts, when you look at those AAA school districts, they have well over 40% in terms of end of year balances. Sometimes that can be a sore subject for teachers, because they look at those balances and they say, hey, you're sitting on a pile of cash. So it's a push-pull. Yeah, it's a push-pull in terms of, you have that much money, you're getting pressure to do salaries and all, raise salaries, but knowing that if you kind of get to those numbers, you can save whenever you do bonds. So you have to kind of explain those things. And I would say too, so those are the things, and good stable management as well, so which you always have had here. So I think you're right on top of it. I would say probably the largest thing is the size of the school district and the commercial aspect of it. No farms in Brentwood that I can recall, but in terms of your commercial and your residential space.
Thank you. Yes, it's helpful.
Any other questions for Lorenzo?
Thank you for
So we'll be back in October with
October 20, I'll be there at B Square.
Yeah.
The band ready.
And that's when
Thank
you Lorenzo.
You're welcome back anytime.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm Santa Claus, I guess.
That's how he introduced himself to me,
I said, there's no reason, I said, this is years and years ago, I have two daughters that are teachers as well, 4 grandkids, and so one of my daughters, she just moved to California, she's teaching, but she was in St. Louis Public Schools, and the other one is in Hazelwood School District. And I said, I come and I bring money, everyone likes to see me. I said, but like I told Dr. Zelinsky, I said, hey, don't be afraid when I call Trina. I'm only calling for 2 reasons. Well, 3 reasons. To feed you.
Yes. Also, Steve does a great job. All of us at MSBA will probably be joining in. I know, I just got the invite today.
To feed you, save you money, and give you money, so.
We appreciate it.
All right,
Right?
thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, I tried to tell him how to get that.
Yeah, I know, it's like, I was like, Andrew, how come I get lost? Yeah. You think you're going in the right way? Well, he's not been here to present since we've been down here. Well, last time he's been here was, when was it, Hamlin Industrial?
I think so,
Yeah, I told him to go out this way and probably
Yeah.
find his way around the building, or you can go through the maze.
So we're in a very good position and we're really excited about this. This was something Trina knew she was gonna be walking into. I think we had it on we put a placeholder on our calendar for like the second week of July to make sure to meet with Lorenzo. So it was one of our first undertakings, but it's great news for us as a district. And honestly, for that, keeping that 89-cent tax rate is really important for us right now. And again, that $2 million that we're able to pay off debt early is, I think, very fiscally responsible, but also in the long run is gonna give us some options that we'll need to investigate and talk about. But we're in a really good, like he's saying, give Lorenzo all the credit, right? He really has done a great job of managing our debt.
And he's been
We're in a
great to
really good
work
spot.
with, he does the work to educate us and.
He doesn't make you feel dumb when you ask questions.
Yeah, that's good, yeah.
I don't know, I'm a financial advisor, I am very grateful. We've had a lot of meetings since I started, and he's been really excellent to work with, so really excited about the opportunity for the district. All right, next up, another very exciting thing that Trina got to do as soon as she walked in was the ASBR. So these are, fairly major things to tackle within your first 6 weeks. I believe we've just crossed the 6-week mark, maybe.
Wow.
Yeah. So I will let you kind of inform them on the ASBR.
So the ASBR.
No, I didn't skip yet. You're right.
Yeah. So it's basically a year-end of what happened in 2025-26, and we ended with a 69% fund balance. I believe when we were looking at the numbers earlier, it was a little bit higher than where we thought we'd be at, but.
Matt had projected, I have a bunch of different things, we had projected 67%. So when he presented in April, it was at 67 point something, so it was about 1.5 percentage points higher than we expected, which is also.
But it just kind of gives you an overview of where you spent your money, where the revenues came in, and overview for the whole year.
It has to be reported to DESI by August 15th. It's something we actually give points for in our accreditation. So appreciate Trina coming in and getting that, learning that one on the fly.
Yeah, got it in early.
Yeah. She did. She did get it in early.
All right.
Yeah.
Stressing about it.
How does this affect our like the long-term fund balance projections?
So that's on Trina and I's list. I told her I wasn't gonna stress her out about it today, and then we met before this meeting. And I was like, look what I look like. So I've kind of been nerding out about it, as I mentioned with my readers. So we will be working on that in September, after we kind of September, October, to update all of our long-term projections. If you remember, we did give the teachers a pretty good chunk of change this year with the negotiations, which was great because we had the money to be able to do so. So that'll come to fruition, and so we're gonna wanna kind of get a lot of that settled, and then we will provide updated projections. We're in a good spot. If you look, I went down a rabbit hole today, and it was for projections from years ago. Like, what were the projections in 1920? What were the projections and how far? Let's just say we're in a really, really good spot, and we are significantly better than where we had projected to be in 19 and 20. I think it was 1920.
I thought you said 1920.
That's
That's what I was
So basically, just to give you a ballpark right now, we are, if I look at mine, again, this is rabbit holing and this is not necessarily, we're about 10 percentage points higher in our debt service than we had predicted to be in our 1920 2019. Projections, and then when you even look back 2 years, we're about, last year we were about 8 percentage points higher, and now we're about 2 percentage points higher. So we are projecting right now, or we are coming in better than projected. This year will be a critical year with the raises to see the projections, which is fine. Matt, if you remember, he built his projections on 1.5% gain in reassessment years and 0, I believe, in non-reassessment years, if I remember. We are not going to change that because we would much rather be on the conservative side, but we are analyzing. We haven't been under a 2.9% in the reassessment years in a while. So we're going to be playing with the projections a little bit. We're also meeting with my former board members in Ladue. They're finance people and they love spreadsheets, and I used to tease them all the time that they didn't like my presentations because I didn't have spreadsheets. And they're doing a cash flow model, and they've actually gone all around the state to show this cash flow model for free that they've created to help districts really be able to be very fluid in their projections and see kind of all the different levers you can push. So I've seen it in use in Ladue. We're excited to meet with them, and that's when, I think we're going to do that the 3rd week of September. We're going to start just playing around with the projections and to see where we are. And we'll present those to you once we feel a little bit more comfortable with the numbers. But again, right now it's all good news. We just want to get settled and make sure we're understanding kind of the math behind maths, and as well as some things that have been happening. Some mostly good, but some things that maybe can happen, and we'll talk about that in the legislative update, that we also want to keep in mind. So we don't want to be too aggressive, but also not too conservative, as Lorenzo implied. Sitting on a 70% fund balance is, I would argue, is not the best. That's not fiscally responsible either, because the money needs to go to the kids and people working with the kids. So we'll get you. That was a really long answer to. It's good news, and we will get you those projections.
Push the levy out as far as you can.
Yeah, exactly.
So you've got to remember, right now we're looking at a levy, and we talked about this a little bit, but we're looking at the original plan is 2 years from now, and we're looking at a 69% fund balance this year, going into this year. So I feel comfortable. I'm not ready to promise anything, but I think we're in a pretty good position, and we'll continue to update you as we get some numbers together.
Thank you.
All right, next, any questions else about the ASBR? You don't have to vote on the ASBR, right? No, it's just a, yeah.
And it didn't have it listed either.
Yeah. And then we have budget revision 3, which is just really the.
Yeah, Matt had informed you guys about that, setting the budget to actual at the last meeting he was at. Not much to say.
Yeah. Typically this would be consent. So Trina and I were like, this usually, I mean, I think it could be consent, but maybe we haven't had it be consent before, but it's really just, closing out the books for the year. Matt had already kind of informed you about it in June, so there's really nothing you need to do.
Did anything jump out at you as you were going through it for the first time?
It definitely got me a little more familiar with what he was budgeting where, and as we do need to make adjustments in the budget, where we can do that, because being new coming in,
sure,
it's where do we pull those funds from, and
right,
instead of having to add to.
Yeah. Okay.
So that does not need to be voted on either.
Nope.
So we did, for the budget revision number 1, we did talk about at the last, I guess it was the last meeting that we had, there was a question about $30,000 in the curriculum budget. So there were a couple things that have come up since then that's related to PLTW and the math curriculum, and we're like, that's where that $30,000.
So it wasn't really a keystroke error. We needed that money. So I would call that a transitional situation where Matt had his feet in 2 different worlds at the time. But we found out pretty quickly. Poor Ronnie was like, we're expanding
I'm just
courses
glad we
and
found
we need,
the-
yeah, I don't have any
Missing
money.
button.
So, good news there, we did find where the money, it was actually correct the first time. We just hadn't, I think we had, luckily Ronnie and Trina have been able to have several conversations to make sure. I think Matt was just trying to close up some things very quickly, nothing.
Yeah.
So, good news is, we have this opportunity to fix that and make sure we can pay for the classes that
And
we're
I
offering.
believe that does need a vote.
That does need approval, yeah.
This one does?
Mhm.
So can I get a motion to approve the 26-27 budget revision number 1?
I make a motion to approve the 26-27 budget revision number 1.
Second.
And discussion.
So I was the one that had sent the email to Matt asking why the cost had increased, and then his response was it was a mistake, but it wasn't. So what was that big jump? You're saying it's Project Lead the Way, or?
I'm happy to explain.
Yes.
It's not one thing.
So that's,
Yeah.
those are the two, I'm trying to be very honest, but that didn't
Everybody asks questions.
Yeah, it's not one particular item that rose in cost by $30,000. So the previous year, our curriculum adoption for the year was science materials. And then for this new school year, our curriculum adoption is English language arts materials. And there is a big price difference in those. ELA tends to be more expensive just because that's the market. But also with something like our English language arts curriculum, we also purchase in-person professional learning for our teachers when they're doing something that is brand new. So our K-5 teachers and our 6-12 teachers are adopting new English language arts resources, and we felt like it was really important that the training not be like a 3-hour Zoom, but that we actually have trainers sit down with our teachers, which they've done this summer and will continue to do throughout this school year, to help with the implementation of new strategies, new materials, and teaching reading and writing. So that is, it was an expected cost, but that is the difference between what you would see for 25-26 and 26-27. And then also, just like everything on the planet, costs are rising for all of our curriculum resources, materials, licenses. Those prices just continue to climb year after year with our renewals. And so where we can, we're looking at, we trim licenses where we can, where we know we don't need the number that we have. But it is what it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
ELA curriculum is tends to be the most costly outside of, just because there's all, teaching kids how to read, there's a lot of pieces to it.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of pieces, and writing, so it's like 2 curriculums in one. Okay.
Any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Great. Thank you, Trina.
Thank you, Trina.
Hey, great job on your first.
Yeah.
That's,
Yay, first board meeting.
Yeah.
I said they were a friendly bunch.
That's only the first time.
Yeah.
You get a pass.
As long as you keep bringing more money, I think we're fine, right?
Yeah, right, just keep the money
Yeah.
coming.
That'll be great. Okay, I'm gonna do the legislative update. This should be a little faster than the slide deck, because this was supposed to be done in June and some things have changed since then. I think I'm going to. I don't know if I was supposed to close that out, Kate. Is the legislative update,
No, I didn't know it was supposed to be presentation.
That's okay. How would you all feel if we just pulled it up on our computers?
I think that's good. Yeah.
Okay. It will take me far longer to do that than it needs to be.
Good to you.
So if you guys can pull it up, we can just talk real quickly through it. The topics of the last legislative session, and I do think this is still important. The legislative session doesn't start till January again, but I foresee lots of these same topics coming up again. Personal property tax changes, assessed valuation changes, the A through F report card, vouchers or Missouri Scholars, and then open enrollment. The good news this year is I shouldn't say that. I don't really know if it was good news, but tax relief or property tax, any kind of tax relief, was a much larger conversation and took up much more attention from the legislatures than open enrollment. So open enrollment did not garner a lot of attention. There were some concerns that it would slide under at the last minute, but it just didn't in some sort of omnibus bill. For Michelle and Claire, just so you know, every Monday during the legislative session, myself, and I don't know if Trina knows this, but Trina will be joining me on the budget. Maybe forgot to put that as the all other duties as assigned. But Matt and I got to spend 8:30 till 9 every morning, Monday morning together to get updates on the legislative, what's happening in the Capitol, what's moving, what's not moving, if there's a call to action, if there's not, what the impacts are, with the lobbyists for the Missouri Association of School Administrators, or MASA. So it takes a special person to be a lobbyist, and I am not that special person. So I generally listen, but I don't ring the alarm quite as regularly as they do. So a couple things. The A through F report card is important because that was actually an executive order. So that meant that the commissioner and the state board were ordered to create some sort of A through F report card for schools. So that happened over here. At the same time, they were trying to make legislation about the A through F report card. Not exactly sure why, if that was supposed to give more guidance than the executive order did. Nobody knows, but it didn't go through. So the bills that we monitored the closest were the A through F. It did not pass, but it is still happening, and they're still updating us on what that will be because the executive order requires it by December, maybe?
Yes, it's this year.
It's this year. So it's supposed to be at the end of this year, like we would be all scored on something that we don't know what it's going to look like. So here's the reality in Brentwood. We're going to be one of the highest performing school districts. Now if that means we get a B because of the new way that they decide to do this, we're going to be one of the top school districts that gets a B. There have been a lot of what ifs, and I have not actually watched the latest webinar.
There was a state board meeting today, but I haven't read a synopsis of it yet.
So it was interesting, just because I think it's good for you to know. Actually, Vince Shamel, former mayor of St. Louis City, a while ago, was just appointed to the state school board by Governor Kehoe. And he reached out last week, and you should be proud to know that he reached out to me because when you search, Brentwood is just one of the #1 school districts in the state. So I wouldn't have sit down with the superintendent. So I got to meet with Vince Shamel. I was really happy to meet with him because I was very, he just wanted to learn more about schools and learn more about like how we can, the state can work together. And one of the things I mentioned was how the A through F report card, the initial is that it should only be based on student test scores, it should only be based on student achievement and student growth. And continuous improvement, some of these other things that are being counted right now should no longer be counted. In theory, that seems like a great idea, but what I was sharing with him is there's the work we're doing around real world learning and getting kids out into the workforce. Students who are in our job readiness classes through SSD that are gainfully employed, but may never score above or below basic on a math test. Schools are, I would argue, the work we're doing with some of our students is far more beneficial than anything you can put on a multiple choice test. And when you're ranking schools, there's some real concerns around you want a bell curve instead of you. Shouldn't we want every school in the state of Missouri to be amazing? Shouldn't it be meeting the needs of every kid? And when you want an A through F, and at one point the legislation even said only 5% of the schools could get A's, and if more than 5% got A's, then they had to go down and make it harder. So it was all about ranking, and it may end up still being. I don't foresee Brentwood being in a place where this is going to be catastrophic for us. They already give us a percentage. So now we got a 98.5. That's an A. That's an A. So how they're going to refinagle the math, we don't know. And again, it may get publicized at the end of this year. School districts, I did sign Brentwood up for this one. The superintendents of schools did write a letter to the state school board saying, can we look at this timeline? Can we look at a pilot? Can we look at conversations to be publishing this out? Again, I'm not worried as much about Brentwood as I am about the narrative of public schools. And that's where my real concern comes in, is that what this means. And what I shared with him, and he asked me, how would the top 25% of our students do against the top 25% of the students in MICDS? So same, I think they'd be equally competitive. And then we said, what about the bottom 25%? And I was like, they wouldn't be accepted into MICDS.
Right.
And that's the fundamental problem with any kind of ranking of schools or looking at private schools, which also when you talk about some of the other, where tax dollars are going, that's another concern too. So anyway, so the A through F report card is going to happen this year. We will keep you up to date. It just is not a bill that passed.
Amy, can I
Yes.
just add one like practical component that we could feel the impact of this year if it goes through is that the proposed plan, the one that the superintendent sent a letter in response to, would compress our spring testing timeline. And so right now we give our math and our end of course exams like close to the end of the year. We try to get as much learning in as possible before we take those end of year tests. And the proposed DESE A through F plan would require that our testing be done earlier in April, so that they could then get the scores calculated and then schools could correct errors and all of that. And so it potentially could have a practical impact in just how we have to rearrange our testing schedule this spring. So that's something that we're keeping a close eye on because we do already have our assessment schedule set for the year and we would have to rearrange some things and really rearrange the pacing of our teaching and learning. So
6 weeks is a very big deal when it comes to teaching, and to take away 6 weeks of teaching in order for logistical challenges so that we can publicize something I have strong feelings about, as do lots of superintendents who signed the bill. The other ones that we watched were Parent Bill of Rights. This was actually nothing, half the things that were on that list were rights parents already have. So it was interesting, but it did not pass. The government control of MISHA was a big one. It passed, but it was completely changed from what it initially was. They had wanted a board for MISHA, which oversees high school sports. They had wanted a board appointed by the governor. They wanted to take over MISHA. Luckily, what they were able to do was in what passed, and I think it's on another slide, what passed was just that it created a body for appeals. So the governor does get to establish a board, basically, that can hear appeals on MISHA, around like student eligibility and things like that. So there is a board for an appeal process, but it did not take over MISHA, which is a good thing, because that would politicize it. An organization that probably does not need to be politicized. Universal screening of gifted we watched closely. It wouldn't have mattered here because we already do it, but it is one of those unfunded type things that if they had required it, it would have, districts who do not have that in place would have had to spend a lot of money. So that did not pass, as did the open enrollment laws. Same thing with tax related, and the reason these are important is they will come up again, and that all of the tax stuff comes up again and again. New construction falling under the Hancock Amendment, not passing is a big deal to us. Matt didn't give us the numbers, but we get a lot of money from new construction, and you get that one-time kind of windfall of that being, it doesn't fall under the CPI or 5% cap, so you get all of that. So that was a good thing for us. That would affect Brentwood fairly dramatically. A personal property tax cap would also impact us pretty dramatically, remembering 94% of our money comes from local funds. And then there was an omnibus tax bill that put all of this, like assessed valuation, property, that's when we all got really nervous. The good news is all of those were going on. If you skip to slide 5, at the same time they were trying to pass the state budget. And it became very clear fairly quickly that they were not going to have enough money to fund the request for K-12 public education. And so cutting taxes and any of those property ones becomes very difficult to tell school districts to do when you're underfunding them. So that the property taxes started, all of those conversations became much quieter once it was realized that not only was the foundation underfunded by about $190 million for this upcoming 26-27 school year, it was also underfunded by about $130 million last school year. What's important about that is, here's the thing, we are hold harmless, which means we are not on the formula. We are not a formula district. If you're not a formula district, you get to get the same amount of money. I'm oversimplifying this, but we get about $1,200 per kid. Since we're not on the formula, we still got our $1,200. Anybody else on the formula got less money. So I think everybody got about $6,700 per kid. At the very beginning, we were supposed to get $7,200. Districts on the formula. About halfway through the year, they're like, yeah, you're not gonna get 7,200, you're gonna get about 6,900. And then, they're like, yeah, you're not gonna get 6,900, you're gonna get 6,700. Now imagine 22,000 kids in Rockwood.
Yeah.
And that's $500 a kid for $22,000. And then you layer on the senior citizen tax rate. So you're looking at millions, and that was for a budget that you'd already built.
Right.
Now you have another budget coming up that's underfunded. So there's some concerns. That is why you see places like Parkway going for a levy in November. You see Webster Groves going for a levy in November. You will see more and more school districts. Again, the best part for Brentwood is that we are primarily locally funded. It will be very important for us to continue to keep an eye on any legislation that impacts assessed valuation, a personal property tax, or capping any kind of things with the Hancock Amendment, anything we do with the Hancock Amendment. That's going to be really important for us to monitor as a school district as we go in, especially because, and I think it's on the last slide, because I put the slide deck together before the amendments and before the vote. Amendment 5 not passing, the income tax not passing fairly loudly and clearly. The governor's response to that has been he is going to continue to look for tax relief for Missourians. There's just a lot of questions of where that can possibly come from. And if it becomes anything about personal property tax or assessed valuation, school districts we are the largest amount of money that the state gives. Like, we are the biggest service provided by the state. And while all of this is happening, I don't want to be super political, but they did increase the amount that went to the Most Scholars program, which allows private schools to have, you can get parents to apply for vouchers to send their kids to private school. So they were underfunding K-12 public, but they added $10 million to make it $60 million for the school districts, or for families to apply for that scholarship. So there's just some concerns about where we're putting the money, where we're getting the money. So the Prop C is the sales tax thing too. If they had upped sales tax and nobody knew exactly what that was going to mean, because we do get 1% of all sales tax, which for us is about $1 million a year. So if they had increased sales tax, that actually may have worked in our benefit, but not into people's pockets. And we'll talk a little bit more about Prop C here in the near future as we look at the rollback that we have been giving back to our community, and what some options are and what other districts are doing with that Prop C. And then the other ones are they no longer exist. So we don't have to worry about the state income tax right now. Like I said, the MISHA is just oversight commission now, so that is good. Government overseeing sports, again, not great. The only last few things I do want to point out, because they're only in St. Charles, but if they start in St. Charles, it is very likely that these will be brought up again to make it county, if not countywide, or St. Louis County, or statewide. School board elections now, just in St. Louis County, this did pass. School board elections have to be held in November.
In St. Charles.
In St. Charles County only. Board members have to serve for 4-year terms, and they can list their political party, so it's politicizing the school board. So there are grave concerns that this would politicize what it's supposed to be a not-political body. And so, that also any ballot measure, if you were going to raise taxes, has to be on the November ballot. So that basically means if something doesn't pass, you have to wait an entire year to put it back on the ballot. Again, only in St. Charles County for right now.
And this November, 26th?
In St. Charles County. So I have no idea, but it's just, again, the voucher program started as a scholarship program for people to donate money. And then nobody donated money. And then the voucher program became, here's $50 million. And now it's $60 million. So I just say, this kind of legislation, since it's passed in a small way, it is very possible you could see it come up again in a bigger way.
Why St. Charles County? That's what I don't understand.
Did St. Charles
It's just
County want
very
this?
odd.
Does the state want this? We don't have to
The
talk
state wants
about
St.
it.
Charles
at all.
County.
I'm just trying to read.
The representatives from St. Charles County want this.
They want
And may have gotten something in return for getting this. So, the representatives. The school districts in no way, shape, or form want this. And they don't even know, like, what happens if you're in year 2 now, do you have to stay for 4? Like there's lots of questions about how this is gonna like play out, so, no one knows. Well, to Charles, I'm not paying a ton of attention to it, I'm sure they're figuring it out. Election filing has been pushed back a week, that doesn't really affect us that much, and we'll put all of that out as we always do. And then there was a bill about anti-Semitism and just making sure that that language is part of our policies, which we will have that be a part of the policies. Usually they send it to us to have it updated, and that it's treated like harassment if it was regarding race, which we already have that policy. And then the Title IX coordinator would have to report any issues, any complaints to DESE. So again, not a bad, I mean, that's not a, I mean, like, that's a fairly easy one. So that is where we ended the year. Good news, we do not have to have a policy update in September because there are very few legislative changes that require us to have a policy meeting. So there's nothing that really truly impacted us a ton. But like I said, as we go into these next few months of kind of quiet time, this is when, you know, in October at MSBA, you will hear about the advocacy. You will also hear where MSBA, I think that's a big part of, right, Lindsay, of the October meeting is voting on where MSBA stands on certain things that come up.
The delegate assembly.
The delegate assembly, thank you, I couldn't remember the name of it. So, yes, so this is actually it was a very pleasant surprise to not have a lot. I will tell you, a lot of us are very nervous about the personal, anything that, again, anybody who's hold harmless, any of our districts is right now we're able to control our own destiny, which is very good in some ways. One final thing that I don't have on here that will be coming out, they're supposed to have it done by December and there's 2 versions, is they're doing a new state formula, a new formula for how they're determining how much money districts get. This is important for us because we're not on the formula, but it is very possible we could get even less money than we currently get, and I would tell you it is probably highly likely we will get a significant amount less than we get now, because there's no extra money being added to the formula, so it's just redistributing the money that they're already giving to education, which is still 190 million less than we need with the current formula, and they're rewriting that formula, looking at different ways to rewrite it per an executive order from the governor to make it more equitable and redistribute the money, but it's just going to be interesting how that falls out, particularly for Brentwood. So as we know more, when they release that, I will let you know, because that will have an impact. Matt has been, we knew this was going to happen, so even our projections are, they won't be shocking to us because we don't get so much money, but it will be enough to have a conversation.
So the tax levies we're seeing in neighboring districts, do you think it is tied to this legislation?
100%.
So it's really interesting how we're so close, but not like we're like,
yeah. It is the senior citizen tax freeze, which again is not good, bad, whatever, it just, that was predicted, like when people make their projections, before the senior citizen tax freeze, 5 years out, Parkway, we're building projections based on continual growth and assessed valuation, and then when those freezes happen, so it's not like they lost money, it's just they're not gaining the money they expected.
They weren't forecasting it over their budget.
Because they didn't know, like you didn't know the legislation. And then you add that with the deficit that you have no idea that the state was gonna underfund the formula, so again, you built a budget based on a couple extra million and it's gone. And so we all can, most districts try to build in reserves and have enough that you can, but you also don't wanna go to your community when you're like, you have no other option, right? So I think some of them are moving faster because they wonder, like, we need to be able to sustain this, and living under this black cloud of unknown, we need to be able to address it. So yes, 100%, any school district that is going for a levy or going to, you'll see a lot of people saying they're gonna move money from debt service to operating, which we will talk about at some point in the next 6 months or so. Those moves are all because of these things, whether you're a formula district and you get all the money, because even districts that are not formula districts like Ladue, Ladue lost $3 million-ish in the senior citizen tax freeze. Now, they do have more money, but again, you also spend the money you have. So it's not like they're just sitting on millions and millions of dollars and saving it for, they're very good at saving. But that's $3 million that they had planned on every year. And their projections too, they're not gonna need to go to their community anytime soon, but you're looking at we were very lucky, we only lost, gosh, there's 49,000 or something like that.
And it also depends on how many people file for it, like how many people in your community say we're gonna take advantage of this. And so I think that is kind of interesting as well.
Yes, we either have people who chose not to, or we have very good paid taxes.
Right.
But it's every year, so as people continue to age.
Yeah, people age out or
Or age
people move
in.
in, yeah, they move in,
So,
and that can all change it as well, so it really
Yeah.
comes down to the demographics of your actual district.
And it's a little easier for us to predict being as small as we are, as Lorenzo alluded to, when you're looking at, Rockwood, and it's a vast, and again, St. Charles County, and you go out to those areas, I mean, there's lots and lots of variables. So just things to keep an eye on. Like I said, this is actually, the tax lien thing is something to keep an eye on, but it was a good legislative session for schools. And everything is passing, which has been very interesting. The April election and the August election, anything that's for schools has been passing pretty significantly. And so I think that's a great testament to how communities really do view their schools. And so hopefully Jefferson City will do that.
Yeah, right.
And that people want to keep their schools doing great things.
So the taxes for Webster, is that coming on the November ballot, or is that gonna be coming on?
Taxes for Webster's November.
It is this November, okay. So that'll be really interesting to see how that goes and what the community responds to everything.
Well, it was very surprising we would do that in the midterm election year. Is gonna be very interesting. Webster and Parkway, I know right now are in November. I don't know any other school district that's in November as of right now, but I know those two.
Okay.
And they can, if it doesn't pass, they can put it on the ballot again.
Yes, they can go again
in April.
And I'm not sure how much, and I know Webster, just because my parents live there, they sent, they did a survey, and most districts do, right? They work with a company who will do a survey, and they give you the predictability of, the toleration of the community of a tax rate and how high, and, that kind of thing, which we would do if we needed to go ask our community. So I assume they got favorable information for them to feel like they could move. And, I don't know if it's a pro or con, but if you do qualify for the senior citizen tax freeze, your taxes won't go up. So hopefully they'll all vote yes.
Yeah, just get out there.
Because they're usually working.
It doesn't matter to them.
Yeah. You may sign like it doesn't matter. So, anyway, but it will be very interesting. There's an entire task force led by some superintendents that are getting very impacted by this, about tight times. I think it's called the Tight Times Task Force. A lot of alliteration. I am not as involved in it because, again, our financial situation is almost,
We want to be kind of quiet about it, maybe.
I would not be a very popular person in here. Ledoux knows our fund balance, and the new superintendent likes to text me snide little comments. So I don't want to open that up to everybody. But it is a real thing. It's a great thing. We are in a really great spot because we are able to control our destiny. We are financially, we have a lot of levers that we can pull if we need to. That I feel very comfortable with where we are right now. And Trina and I are going to do some learning together over the next few months to talk about what all of those levers can be, and so that we can present those to you, so that you guys know, because some of them I think are ones that have not been looked at closely, because Matt got us to a really good position where we have a lot of options, and I think we need to dig into those a little bit more.
Great. Any other discussion? Well, thank you. Appreciate it.
Very helpful.
Sorry for the very delayed update from legislation.
No, that's good.
That's good.
All right, that moves us into Board of Education, and we've got several policies to go through and get updated. So let's start with, can I get a motion to approve the MSBA 26A policy updates as outlined?
I make a motion to approve the MSBA 26A policy updates as outlined below.
Second.
And discussion.
I did just email all the weekend update that had the language changed.
I
in
was just
policy.
reading that.
In my head, that was sent to you on Friday. I have no idea what happened, but it is in there. I just changed bullet number 3. Pretty straightforward to just say that you'll stay informed.
Yeah.
That we're not as a board making a stance, that we're just staying informed.
So the only one that we changed was, Katie was just showing me, is that the,
The B.
are we going through all these? Every one of
No.
these?
I think we're just gonna go through,
Okay.
we can discuss and each one if we want to, or we can just approve them all in one fall swoop, unless there's something that you guys wanna add or amend. Okay. Any other discussion before we vote? Okay. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Those policies pass. Thank you. The next one is, can I get a motion to approve the BSD initiated policy update as outlined?
I make a motion to approve the BSD initiated policy update as outlined below.
Second.
And discussion.
Can you advise what has changed or what has been updated?
Nothing has changed in this one.
Okay.
This is just one that we're required legally to update. I think it's every 2 years, but we just do it every year to make it more straightforward.
Got it.
So nothing has
So we
changed.
reviewed it last year.
You've been following it,
We're
yes.
good, okay. I was like.
We follow it every year.
Red line.
Yeah. So no red lines, nothing's changed, we
Yeah.
just are required to approve it.
Any other discussion? No. Okay, all those in favor, say aye. Opposed? That passes as well, thank you. And then, do we have, my computer's acting up, is there,
MEC conflict of interest.
Yeah, what is it?
Under,
I know that, it looks like it's under there, Kate, we may need,
Yeah, you need to.
the
I
MEC
thought it was
conflict of
all-
interest resolution, we need to
Yeah.
vote on that one too.
Yes.
Okay.
okay, so that's not underneath, okay, I thought it was, okay.
Good.
All right, can I get a motion to approve I guess we'll go through each one of these then.
Well, it's only just that next one is the
Oh, yeah, I'm
MEC,
sorry.
the other ones are just updates
Oh,
for,
the MSB,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, yeah. Can I get a motion to approve the MEC conflict of interest resolution?
I make a motion to approve the MEC conflict of interest resolution.
Second.
And discussion?
this is the same thing where you just have to
Okay.
approve it, nothing's
Yeah.
changed.
Everything, the language is the same. Good.
Yep.
Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes as well. Thank you. And now MSBA refresher training.
Everybody has been signed up for it, but some folks have not completed it yet, so
Okay.
if you complete it, you should be able to get on and do it.
Do we complete, did Claire and I complete it since we just did our
Yes, it was part of your package of new board member training.
So it was already done as part, if they did
It
their
was done,
board
we had to
Yes.
do, we had finished all of ours, so that's what I was wondering, so
Yes.
that would have been completed.
Yes.
Okay.
Do you know who has not completed it?
Yeah.
Could you shoot
All
an
of
email
us?
to them? Could you shoot an email to those who have not completed it?
Kate does this every year,
Yeah.
just since I've been on there the longest, she makes sure that we complete it, but she does call us out in meetings, which is so helpful.
Yeah, right.
I'll do it tomorrow.
Yeah.
So thank you,
Yeah.
Kate, if it's me, it could be.
All right, that moves us to our MSBA delegate report.
Yes, so we were just talking about the delegate assembly that will be at the MSBA conference in October. In the MSBA emails recently, they have a list of all of their advocacy positions, and what school districts can do is, I was just reading it, it's like 100 different topics and 200 positions that they have. And so sometimes school districts have a change that they want to make, and that's what happens at the delegate assembly. And so we can always review, it's like a 36-page document that comes out every week in their email to review their positions, but it's things we have always been supportive of. But at the delegate assembly, we can vote on any changes that might come up. Brentwood has never submitted, since I've been on the board, changes to the MSBA position, but we do always participate in the delegate assembly, and it's just a good democratic process where school district that wanted to propose a change talks about the language, and then there's voting back and forth, and people can submit changes, and this is where Robert's rules of order are followed. There's whatever that professional, personal person is there with a gavel. I mean, it's quite a process. So every district has one person that's in the delegate assembly, but people can come observe. So
And you're our person.
I will be your person, and if anyone else is at the conference, you can either go take a nap or you can come watch and observe. They do give you snacks. So that's for the MSBA thing. But there will be a lot of information. I know people have signed up to come to the conference this year, which I think is awesome. It's always great. You will see Carrie, who is here for the Heart Association. She's always there. I see her representing Northwood. And then lots of opportunities to learn more about what MSBA is doing.
And I don't know if we're allowed to publicly say this, so I'm gonna say it. I'm sure there's 1,000 people on the line. There will also be a celebration at the MSBA conference of Brentwood Early Childhood on the day 2, because they won one of 3 best early childhoods in the state of Missouri. They won for our size, our class of, and so there's 2 other ones, but the person who called to tell me that we won the award raved about, they're like, it was the easiest decision. This is the most prestigious award that they give, but it was a very easy decision based on all of the amazing things.
I'm so happy.
I know. So I got to tell, I'm a mean person. I texted Beth the other day and was like, hey, are you in your office? And she was like, hey, okay, I'm gonna come by for a real quick chat, and I didn't know if but I'm a nice person, she should never think it's bad, she's amazing. And she was super nervous. And so I got there and Jan was there, she's like, oh no, I'll step out. I'm like, no Jan, you get to hear it. So I made them both cry, which was great to have me tears. But I got to share that news with the whole staff, because it really is the whole staff. We got to share that with them yesterday as their luncheon. We gave them cookies and cupcakes, and it is a huge honor and beyond well deserved. We all know we have an amazing early childhood, but it is really exciting to see them honored. I will tell you, I usually take off Saturday morning to head home, but the award ceremony for them is going to be at the luncheon on Saturday. So if you can stick around for the luncheon, it's included in our registrations. But Beth will be accepting the award on their behalf, and then we will have some early childhood teachers that'll hopefully be joining us for lunch and celebration. So it'll be a good.
That'll be fun.
This is Beth's first
This
year
is
leading.
she's starting her 2nd year.
That's amazing.
Yeah. What's so impressive is she was such a part of building the reason they got the award with the work she was doing with conscious discipline and the PAT program, and so there are a lot of tears. I think that they needed it. Beth has done an amazing job coming in as the leader, and I think it just solidifies what they know about themselves. But it's always nice to have someone else tell you. And a huge shout out to Lindsay for I didn't even know it was an award, so I was able to let me know. But it was great. So Beth and I sat down, and Beth did the legwork of. I tried to write some of it, but I'm like, she knows better what they do. But it is. What's so powerful is it wasn't that they had to make it, like they weren't exaggerating. It's just true. This is them on paper, so really
So
proud
I've
of
seen
them.
this award at the conference, and every time I'm sitting there, I'm just like, we are doing all of this. We can totally be doing this. But as Amy said, this was the best year, because she's had 1 year of being the director, and super
How are we
excited.
going on publicizing that? Do we have to wait
I'm
until?
waiting, so they had to tell everybody, they just told us at the end of last week, and then they were telling everybody who didn't win. And so I've been in communication with them about, like, a lot of times they give us a press packet that we can use. And so they haven't kind of given me the go ahead, but as soon as they do, it will be blasted. Tony and I have already talked, it will be blasted from the mountaintops. So we will make sure to share that as widely, and I told Beth, get ready, she's gonna have lots of visitors.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're gonna wanna come and see, like,
Yeah.
what are you doing? So, I think again, that's also a huge testament to the district, there'll be people into the district. And we know 85% of the kids who go to the Brentwood Early Childhood stay in the district, so.
It's amazing.
All great things, all
Good
great
stuff.
things.
Great, thanks, Lindsay. SSD.
Have good news, please.
I have no news. Our next meeting is September 21st, and it's a virtual one, and then they did add 2 workshops to the calendar for the governing council, one in November, and then I think one in May, both, and I think they're both gonna deal with budget. And Michelle is gonna take my place at the one in November because I cannot make it.
You ready? Where are you?
Yeah, right.
I told her, there's no voting, it's just a workshop, it's just a workshop, so, that's.
I was asked to serve on the budget task force as a representative from a partner district, and I said yes.
Yes.
So I will be also learning. It will make me probably even more grateful for where we are, but I respect again the leadership and what they're trying to do. I'm very concerned about how they're gonna be able to do it, but, so I told them I would gladly, I don't know if I say gladly, but I would absolutely serve on that. So I will be able to get some information on that as well. And I do wanna add, Julie Schrader, our new director, as you know, that was kind of a decision that was made pretty quickly, at the end of beginning of July. We are beyond thrilled to have her. I have been in touch with Trina, she's settling in at MRH. We are beyond thrilled to have Julie. She is split between Valley Park, and so you will not, I've told her she does not need to attend board meetings unless there's something that is SSD related that she's presenting on. She's already made her presence very well felt here. I have full faith that she will do an excellent job and provide the supports that we need for our district. I have no questions, qualms of any kind, but it's a lot on her, and so we've also shared, Ronnie and I both will help her in any way that she needs help. We really want, boots on the ground that are gonna be able to help our classroom teachers, so anything we can take off her plate. So she won't serve as a member of cabinet, but she will, Ronnie is our SSD liaison, so they will meet regularly. Her and I meet too, as we're just kind of adjusting, but I think we're in a really good spot, but Julie's gonna be great. I did tell her that she'll pop by and meet you all soon, but I told her not to take on all of that. So she's going to open houses to meet kids. Not that board isn't super important, but I felt that was a better use of her time this week. So she may see you at an open house, but I know that wasn't governing council, but I think I know I put it in the weekend updates, but apparently I've not been emailing them to you.
Is she, like, her office gonna be here and there,
It's in
split
Trevina,
evenly?
it's
Oh,
split. So she's here Tuesdays and Fridays.
Monday, Thursday.
I was so close. Mondays. Then she's in Valley Park. We went back and forth on that, but she's really good about like dedicating and setting boundaries of like this is what she's working on. She's very efficient, and like I said, I think she's transitioning, and it's a lot for her. She's been in Valley Park for 13 years, but she knows her stuff. So she will. We're in good hands. I have full faith.
All right, that comes to our board committee updates. I know we sent out a note to everybody. Have we had any meetings scheduled yet?
We are going to send an email in a couple weeks. We wanted all the back to school stuff to go through, because I don't think anybody's gonna have the bandwidth. They're like my house, to pay attention to anything that isn't getting my kids out the door on Monday morning. So we're gonna send it out in a couple weeks, probably right after Labor Day, to ask for more signups. Anybody who wants to be a part of anything, we'll talk about the technology committee. And again, if you have friends that you recommend, feel free to email us their names, or you can reach out to them as that communication comes out and just tell them, the more the merrier. I think all of us agree, just with life, the turnout tends to be like this on most of our committees, so I would prefer more people than not. And so if you know anyone, once that communication comes out, please make sure to let us know, and we can reach out to them individually.
Okay, sounds good. And I don't have any updates on the 353 redevelopment committee yet, so. Our upcoming events, mentioned that we're canceling the September 2nd policy meeting. But everything else, we have our alumni. Yep.
I am gonna, the board meeting is wrong for September, it's actually September 22nd. If you'll remember, we've pushed it back a week because of the tax rate.
Oh, okay, so it's not.
Okay, yeah, you
Well,
had,
it's at
I don't think
somewhere.
that official announcement had
No,
been made,
I
it had
didn't
been
know
set
that.
for the 15th, and then we were supposed to hold and reserve the 22nd or 29th.
Yeah, that's what, yeah.
Oh, okay. I would, it won't be ready on the 16th because I think they don't have to get it to us till the 15th, I apologize. So if we can plan on the 22nd
22nd.
of September,
Yeah.
because we won't have the tax rate, otherwise we'll have to have 2 meetings.
Yeah.
And that's at six, or
The board meeting will start at 7. We typically go based on how much we have on the agenda.
so it could be 6 or 6:30.
6 or 6:30. So I would plan for
But
6,
At 6, yeah.
Sorry, September 2nd.
22nd.
22nd.
Yeah.
But we're
September
still
2nd 's
meeting
always
on the 1st at 7,
No, the first is what was
That's-
canceled.
that one is canceled.
Yes.
Okay.
It says
'Cause
second,
it
but
says
it's
second.
Second.
I
So,
think
yeah,
that's-
the dates are.
The dates are all confusing, so let's back up. The first is canceled.
The first,
Okay.
yeah, the first policy meeting in September.
Okay,
Okay.
that's canceled.
And then the 22nd.
And so we're not meeting.
So are
we're
we
just meeting-
firm on the 22nd, or could it still move to the 29th?
It could still move to the 29th.
Okay.
If the tax rate doesn't get, if we don't get the tax information we need.
So we
From
should
the
still
county.
hold the 29th and
I would
reserve,
still hold the 29th, yes.
but the 15th is definitely not.
Definitely not.
Okay.
Definitely not
So
on
we're
the
only
15th.
meeting one time.
You
in
know how I
September.
love
I
my
know,
balance.
I know you do,
I do too.
I know, this one's hard because last year we didn't get it until like right at the last minute from when they had to give it to us, but we have to submit it by the 1st. So we really don't wanna have to do the 29th if we have the information we need from the state, because then we have to file it and do all of that.
Okay, so basically.
And we're Trina well enough to know she doesn't wanna wait until the day before it's due to file the tax. So we're hoping the 22nd, and as soon as we know, we will let you know, for sure.
And then we have the BHS alumni reunions on Friday, September 18th. Is that Brentwood Days?
That's Brentwood Days.
That's Brentwood Days, that kicks off Brentwood Days, but we also have the Hall of Fame is usually, so it's every other year, and I believe this is a year where they're inducting people into the Hall of Fame, they didn't last year. So I think it's this year, I think it's an every other year thing,
Okay.
but, so they just, it's wonderful, they, hang out in the commons, they do tours, a lot of the alumni, they have favorite classes. We try to pop by and say hi and mingle, so if you're available, I'm sure they'd love to see you. The Alumni Association gives out lots of great scholarships for our kids, and just, it's a nice event to kickstart Brentwood Days.
Yeah,
The
absolutely.
18th, and there's a volleyball game here that night. So,
Oh, yeah.
a couple reasons to be.
Is that homecoming weekend too?
We learned,
Cause that.
I don't know why I'm looking at you,
It's
but it,
October.
it's October,
Okay, I
so
thought it was
coming.
all.
It got really, so everybody had always told, not everybody, that's not true, many people had said that it'd be so great if homecoming,
Mhm.
and Brentwood Days were the same weekend, and we tried that last year, and it's exhausting. And then you have to do the dance a different week, and then Friday night, like, there's a football game, it's just all insane. So we do have an event that night, and I think we actually may even have one of our football games, but it's not homecoming, so we don't have to deal with all of that.
And the 5K run is also.
That's Saturday morning.
Brentwood parade, so.
Yes, it's a very tiring weekend, because we do have please come do the 5K, I don't run, but we will be bringing the dog and walking for a mile. It's a wonderful walk in Brentwood Park in the morning, and then the parade, we will be doing a truck with the board, again, let's hope it doesn't rain on you, this year, or it'll be 1,500 degrees, so, yes. So we will have a
beautiful
truck.
fall day,
Yes,
is what
it
we're
would be
looking for.
nice, it would be nice. So, please do mark your calendars for the parade. I will send you calendar invites. I will also send you calendar invites for the, board meetings, so that you have them on your calendars, because I kind of live and die by that. And then, I don't know what time we need you there, but we will have, will be well represented. We have, all of our schools will be there, all the good stuff that we've been doing the last few years.
Great. And we also have a MSBA Region 7 meeting on, is that at which, where, Rockwood,
Right,
like one of the high schools, or?
It didn't say yet
Oh, it doesn't.
exactly which school.
Okay.
But if you wanna go, let me know, so I
All
can
right.
get you signed up.
This is the event that we hosted here last year,
Right,
if you
yeah,
remember.
Is anyone planning on going?
I'd be interested in going.
Is it at night?
It is,
Mhm.
it's an evening,
They serve dinner and
there'll be a presentation and
What day is it?
it's a Monday,
Fine.
September 28th.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean,
might go.
I could make it work too, I just don't wanna be the only one going. Like have more representation at the table.
Yeah.
I unfortunately
I'll let you
cannot
know.
go this year. I take my son to see
Okay.
to see a specialist,
Great.
so I will not,
Okay,
I will not be
6
attending.
Or
I
I'll
apologize.
something like that. I'll send you some
Home
information.
for dinner.
Okay, so,
Claire and I will go for sure.
alright.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll let you know.
Claire and I are going out to dinner.
Enjoy it.
I'll try.
Come to dinner.
Okay,
Yeah,
great.
I'll try.
Great. I will also try.
All right, and we've got October 7th and the 21st for our meetings, and then that follows up with our MSBA Fall Conference.
A lot going on.
We got a busy
We are
couple
back.
months.
Those should be
Yeah, welcome back to
Those should be
school,
the
everyone.
6th and the 20th.
Yeah, I was gonna say the dates are.
Yeah, I don't know why they're all off from last year, but we'll
I think
fix
so.
it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna send you calendar invites, and
Okay.
send them
Yeah,
online.
okay.
So and the conference, is that, so we have the 23rd to the 25th on here, but is it the Thursday, the 22nd to Saturday, the 20th?
Excuse me.
Bless you.
Bless you.
Yes.
24th.
I think
Just
all
wanna
the
make
dates
sure-
are off by one day.
One day, okay.
Yeah.
But sometimes there's the early events that not everybody
Yeah.
goes to.
There
and
is.
We
I'm-
usually go
I'm
on
gonna-
Thursday.
I'm gonna go early, for the fall conference, get there a day early, because there is something that day.
Yeah, if you look at the registry, I'll send you guys the link,
Yeah.
because if you look at the, I'll add
I
it
just
to
wasn't
the,
sure, like, I looked kind of at the events, but I'm like, I don't know.
really Friday is the full day,
Friday's the-
Thursday.
I go up on Thursday night.
Me too, I go Thursday afternoon.
And then stay Friday and Saturday, come home Saturday afternoon.
Okay,
That's typically what I do.
I'm gonna check, cause I really wanna be there now for the.
Yeah, it'll be really fun.
Yeah, I feel like.
Mhm.
I'm gonna look at the train schedule. but-
I know, that was
I'm
smart,
taking the
that's a
train.
great
That's a
idea,
good idea.
and you can
I
work
mean,
on it, just
You
like.
can work on the train,
Yeah.
it's only not even a half a mile to the
Yeah.
hotel, so just.
You can walk, there's a.
I might join
That's a great
we don't
idea.
have to talk the whole 4 hours. We can have our own.
That sounds good.
Yeah,
Okay,
just
so,
saying.
That is also the perk of the train.
Yeah.
It usually kicks off Thursday night with the president's reception where there's, some cocktails. It's a very fun weekend, I will tell you. It's a very fun weekend. We will enjoy.
All right, so moral of the story here is we need to get these dates updated and.
I will get the calendar.
We might be showing
Okay.
up on the day
Yeah.
before, the day before everything starts, we'll be like.
I got it. I gotta update my calendar on all of
No,
this.
that's okay.
So I'll just send it
Yeah,
out.
I always.
See you.
Thank you,
Something.
thank you.
Mhm.
All right, anything else? Can I get a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second, sorry.
Adjourn at 8:54. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Okay,
I've got a
thank you.
call roll.
Oh,
Oh,
Yeah,
Mark Cicero,
Yes.
Kate Clark,
Yes.
Brian Coon,
yes.
Carl O'Brien,
Yes.
Michelle Ross,
Yes.
Katie Spall, Lindsay Spencer.
Yes. All right,
Thank
thank
you,
you,
Kate.
everyone.
Take care, everyone.
Yes.
Since Francis is on.
I think so.
Exciting stuff.
Yeah.
4 more days. We're ready.
Oh,
Oh, 3 more days, I guess.
they're ready.